Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today's episode is one that is extremely close to my heart and one that I'm so honored to share with you. During my ayahuasca ceremonies, I learned more about how she works, and I learned more about how to create a deeper intention based on what I want to understand versus what she can show me as a plant medicine and as a teacher. And what ended up happening with my first two ceremonies is they were extremely different from each other. I didn't expect, and I couldn't even try to expect what happened in the first one to happen in the second one. They were so different that I had to shift my understanding of intention setting in general and had to shift my understanding of surrender so that I could go deeper into the visions and go deeper into the journey with Mama Ayahuasca. Having traveled so much within the first and second ceremonies with Mama Aya, she answered all my questions. She answered all of my intentions. She gave me so much deep knowledge and wisdom that when it came to the third ceremony, I had such a beautiful understanding of her language, the way she speaks, the way she works, that I was ready now to ask her why she called me to be here, what she wanted from me by coming to Peru, what was my calling to be in Peru. And during the third ceremony, I asked her, and she sent me on a beautiful journey, which I'm going to share with you. Please bear with me with these visions, of course. If you have taken ayahuasca before, they're much easier to understand. But if you haven't, I promise, as we dive deeper into this channel, I will explain more about how Mama Aya's visions and medicine work within you. We'll also go deeper into the interpretations of each vision as I have interpreted them. And this is one of those first interpretations based off of what I saw. As with every ceremony, we go up to the altar, and before we drink Mama Aya, we actually speak into her, into the cup that we're holding, and we ask her what we want. We first give, and we offer something in order to receive. It's the principle of Aini. It's one that I hold so close to my heart. Directly translated, it means today for you, tomorrow for me. And this whole process of giving in order to receive is the natural flow of our existence. So you go up to the cup and you speak into her, and you speak in what you will be giving and asking as a result to receive whatever it may be you want to receive. In my case, in this specific ceremony, I asked her to explain my calling to me. Why did she call me here? That was my question, and that was my intention for the ceremony. And so it began. It started off very slow, and I'm only going to get into this specific part of the vision to go deeper into it. But I started getting very uncomfortable in my clothes. In ceremony, we wear, they ask us to wear white. And at the time, I had like this white buttoned up dress on that during ceremony, I was so uncomfortable. I couldn't the sleeves were all over the place. Like I wasn't feeling in my body at all. So I actually ended up taking off all my clothes, and I was completely naked in the ceremony, which is fine for two reasons. First one being it is pitch black, so no one can really see you. So I did feel a little bit more comfortable, but it's also fine because, you know, you're in ceremony. People are so in their own minds and stuff that they don't really, you know, look around at all. And once I took my clothes off and my breasts were bare, I had that thought where I was like, oh my goodness, people are going to see me. They're going to see me naked. They're going to see my boobs. And I just don't know how I feel about that. And that's when she took me on this journey. The journey started with humans as plants and how we are all these plants, basically. How women are these beautiful flowers that express themselves, and they are so wonderful and full of light. And how the men are the partnering plants that help fertilize and create more flowers. During this vision, it sort of started out with women as flowers, and then slowly the flowers started becoming less and less beautiful. They started covering up their petals because of the way the male was attracted to their beauty. And it got to the point in the vision where it was very much masculine versus feminine. And I was very much, of course, in my feminine with Mama Aya as a very feminine maternal energy. And I almost got a little bit frustrated with the masculine for taking away the beauty and the celebration of that beauty of the woman. Mama Aya explained to me that there's actually there's no reason to have that anger towards the masculine. In fact, it's with the masculine and the feminine in balance that we are whole and we are one. And she essentially took me on this journey where over the years, and as we started and as the Industrial Revolution began, men were needed to work, and women were distracting men from that work with the qualities that they possessed that were different from their bodily norms. And as a result, it distracted the men from their work. And so they created new laws to cover up the parts of the body that the men were attracted to, because naturally we are here to create more and to experience each other and celebrate each other's differences and each other's beauty. But because the patriarchy needed men to work, with the Industrial Revolution, they needed workers. Anything that was distracting the man had to be banished. And as a result, women were completely covered up. They weren't even allowed to show their ankles, never mind their breasts. And every time something was shown by the woman, it ended up becoming quite sexualized. So the men started creating a distorted image and idea of the woman and their attraction towards the woman based on a slight shoulder showing or a little ankle showing, instead of actually acknowledging their beauty and honoring their beauty as being different from them. And it became, for the men, it became very confusing because they couldn't identify where their attraction lay. And it obviously ruined a lot of relationships, and it created a lot of confusion in their minds as to their physical attractions versus their internal attraction to the female, and vice versa for the female. The female, as a result, because they had to cover up their bodies and because they were suppressed a lot from the Industrial Revolution and from before, the women were very suppressed in their rights and in their ways, that the women started seeking exterior validation from the men. They weren't anything without the man. So they would sexualize themselves to attract the man so that they could live in a state of power, in a state of strength with their partner who is in that state already. So this journey went on, and Mama Aya showed me all of these different ways that women were losing sight of themselves and losing that feminine empathy and compassion because they weren't giving themselves the love they needed, but were rather searching for that validation externally. And as a result, they were dealing with a lot of unbalanced masculine and feminine within themselves. And the same went for the males, where they weren't allowed to show empathy and compassion towards themselves. They weren't allowed to cry. They weren't allowed to show any emotion. And as a result, their feminine was extremely bruised and wounded, and their masculine had to expand. There had to be this toxic idea of masculinity that doesn't exist. It isn't real. It's a confused idea of the truth. And that's where Mama Aya showed me what my duty is and what my calling is. How she showed it to me and how I understand it is that we can rebalance that alignment of the masculine and feminine. We can reawaken the feminine within us, straighten our crowns, and come back into our power, both as male and as female, as we rebalance that beautiful yin and yang connection within us. The idea of the masculine and feminine is so distorted based on one's perception of a male and a female role model. When I say masculine, a lot of the time my clients think of a male that gives them the idea of masculine. And the same goes for feminine and a female association or representation of that archetype. What the masculine and the feminine are within us is an incredible balance of instinct versus intuition. The feminine brings self-compassion, it brings empathy, it brings intuition and understanding of the self, whereas the masculine consists of the instinct, the natural strength, the belief and trust in yourself and in your intuition to know what to do in each moment. And having those two in relationship, a good, honest, clear relationship with one another, your instinct naturally trusts your intuition and vice versa. You live in a deep state of understanding, a deep sense of self and trusting and believing in yourself as you move forward in your day-to-day activities. This balance is what I focus on in my women's and men's circle specifically. With everything we do, there is either a masculine energy or a feminine energy related to that specific thing. And that's what I do in my men's and women's circles. In my men's circles, I work very deeply on deconstructing and desexualizing the woman's body so that men can understand where their attraction lies in their partner or in a partner in general, and get to a deeper level of compassion with that person. Their confused ideas of their initial attraction to the woman then dissipates, and it gives them a deeper understanding of what they want in a partner. Of course, a lot of the men's circle involves reawakening the feminine and giving back that emotional acceptance and opening the space and creating a safe space for men to show real emotions freely without judgment and without reprimand. That space and that love that we create in the men's circles has blossomed in so many different ways that I'm so honored to be able to hold those spaces for the brotherhood that we've created. The same goes with the sisterhood and the women's circles. The women's circles also go deeper into understanding the masculine and understanding the balance needed for the masculine and the feminine in the self. By identifying when the masculine is present and identifying when the feminine is at play, our women's circles help us go deeper into our feminine together, creating that community of sisterhood, but then also building our masculine energy and believing in ourselves and giving ourselves back that love and that self-validation instead of searching outwards for it, thereby creating a deeper sense of confidence, a deeper sense of strength, and giving the woman and the man their power back, their strength, their love, their compassion, their empathy, their sympathy, their natural way of living within a community. And this balance of yin and yang, this balance of masculine and feminine, is what Mama Aya showed me. She showed me what's lacking, and she showed me how to do these circles. She taught me how to reawaken the masculine and the feminine relationship within us. And I am so excited to be hosting these men's and women's circles. I have my next one coming up on the 15th of October, my women's circle, and it happens to be on a new moon, which is absolutely amazing. Women's circles over a new moon are incredible times for setting intentions, for going deeper into that feminine energy, and for welcoming in the feminine archetype. So I'm very excited for it, and if you can, I would love to invite you to join me. Please send me an email or write in the comments if you are interested, and I'll be sure to send you through all the details. Finally, with understanding these visions and going deep into my calling with Mama Aya, I understood what I need to do, and that's why I've done what I have so far. I'm just trying my best here to help and to heal and to guide and to teach and to grow for the good of all, to help us all reawaken and realign the divine archetypes within us and bring us back into ourselves. We have so much power just here in our hearts, to lead with our chests, to lead with love, and to grow and to become everything we want. And it starts with identifying the masculine and feminine imbalances and creating a safe space for them to grow again. And that's what I honor in my men's and women's circles. I will be posting a meditation from my women's circle and giving you a bit more information on what to expect and what they actually entail. So please stay tuned for that. Understanding the masculine and the feminine within us really helps us understand when which is at play and when one might be wounded versus healed. And by understanding when one is acting up by the different actions and reactions that are occurring, we can really dive deeper into the practice of learning the self, about learning about the masculine and feminine, and then in future also working with when one might be out of balance and being more aware of it in the situation that we might be presented with at the time. So I implore you to focus on your masculine and feminine, sit with yourself, feel them out. Your masculine is on your right side, your feminine is considered to be on your left side, and a lot of the time your body will speak to you about when one of them are working too hard versus when one of them might be a little bit suppressed, based on the pains or the feelings you might get in either side of your body. So take stock and practice awareness and consciousness in your body when it is speaking to you, because a lot of the time you don't necessarily need to identify the emotion of the masculine versus the feminine, but rather just understand and feel your body out. Just sit with yourself and open up that conversation with your body and give your body the opportunity to speak and for you to listen. So I implore you to sit with yourself, to speak to your body, to listen to your body, and to dive deeper into that understanding of the self through the masculine and the feminine, and watch as your awareness opens up and everything starts unfolding in a deeper sort of sense of comfort. You create a safer space for your being and for your vessel to exist freely, and you understand more about yourself. You dive deeper into yourself and you practice those feminine and masculine qualities, the feminine qualities of self-compassion, of patience, of self-love, and the masculine qualities of believing in yourself and trusting in your intuition and taking those steps forward for your better good. I implore you to take on this challenge. Let me know how it goes. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I would love to know what your take on masculine and feminine is, and how the masculine and feminine archetypes work within you personally, and what you've identified since this conversation. But as always, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your time. I hope that this understanding of the masculine and the feminine has brought you closer and deeper into your self-knowledge and self-love. And thank you, Mama Aya, for showing us this gift, and I can't wait to share more with you. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.